All right, guys, we have been on the air for 18 years. This is our 18th birthday, and that is unreal. Back on February 14, 2002, Sirius Satellite Radio launched, and we were their only original talk show at the time. They had other shows on, but we were the only original one. And so that is our birthday, and so hence this has been 18 years now. We're all grown up, and we're all grown up. We're adults now, going off to college.
So too much, he can now smoke, go to the military.
Yeah, that's right, or get killed, which might happen. Okay, anyway, let's see if we make it to 19. But seriously, that is actually part of the story of the Young Turks. I mean, every year we're like, let's see if we can do another one, and it hasn't been easy, and it has been in some ways one miracle after another to stay on air. Yesterday in the post game for the members, John and I were talking about how in 2006 we were on to our last payroll and we were about to go under, and just bounced off the ground and got back up. It's happened many times, but here we are. Look, if you look at the metrics that the rest of the world cares about, which is there's one, money, right? That's why New York Times has never written a story about us, maybe ever, but certainly not anything positive. NPR has never done a story. None of these big outlets have ever been like, wow, Young Turks, holy cow. Oldest show in internet history. So we went online in 05, at the end of 05, so that's been 15 years. So we started as a radio show, and then I'm gonna show you all the platforms we're on in a second. So if you're going by the metrics of hey, are they as rich as Bloomberg? No, we're not. Okay, so sorry. Nothing I can do about it. Believe me, we've tried. But there are other metrics. So I'm gonna get hokey in a second in thanking you guys, but let me show you the numbers. Lifetime views for the Young Turks online, this doesn't even count radio. 12.8 billion views. 18.5 million subscribers on our network across all the different shows and channels and platforms, and minutes watched. So because you could have views and maybe people are only watching 2 seconds, or you could have a lot of subscribers, but maybe people aren't actually watching. Minutes watched, you can't argue with. About 38 billion minutes viewed. Damn. So look, no matter what happens to us today, tomorrow, the next year, they can't take that away from us. We reached a whole heap of people with our progressive message.
Wow.
We're proudly called the home of progressives, and we got through to literally billions of people. Now those are views, not viewers. Obviously there aren't 12.8 billion people on the planet, but even so, even if somebody's watched 2 videos, 10, 20, 200 videos, you still have reached an unreal number of people. If you told me that number 18 years ago, when Ben and I and Dave first plugged in the microphones in my living room in my 1-bedroom apartment, I would have said, look, man, I got a giant ego. I believe anything is possible. But 12 billion views, bring it down. And certainly Dave would have never believed it, and Ben would have never believed it. None of us would have. So look, how do we get here? Here comes the hokey part. We never got celebrated by the rest of the media. And yeah, and we joke around about it on the show all the time. There's a slight bit of bitterness there.
Yeah, slight.
Yeah, but look, they don't. As my wife said, people you're leading a rebellion against are not likely to give you a pat on the back. So fair enough. But there are other people in the world, you guys. So first, just on a personal level, I've now met thousands of you, and the credit you guys give us and the love that you guys give us is worth 1,000 articles or anybody in the mainstream media or the elites or the people inside the club giving us credit. God, you guys are so wonderful to us. And so how do we make it in a digital media atmosphere that is near impossible? We've literally had hundreds of companies go bankrupt in the time that we've been on air. Well, the reason they go bankrupt is the advertising situation in digital media is a disaster, total utter disaster. It's not just specific to us, it's specific to the whole industry, but you carried us. So that's very literal, financially, through membership, tyt.com/join. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a little button down below, it says join. Yeah, and sometimes people say, oh, you asked the audience for too much. That's absolutely true, I do ask you guys for too much. And I wish I didn't have to, but I don't have a choice. That's the only way we stay on. But we love you for it. It's, look, I'm king hokey, okay? But everybody around here is hokey and corny, and our love for you, I think, is I think we show it to you over and over again because it's as earnest as it can be. And then another way to keep us on air is tyt.com/yes. It's just a contribution in any way that you can. Anyway. So if it wasn't for you guys, it would have been out of business a long, long time ago. New York Times did do a story on just about every right-wing outlet, but the one that sticks with me, and I'll keep it real, is Dennis Prager. And in the middle of the article, where they're doing glowing praise of this conservative guy with his horrible, unbelievable views, trying to do propaganda on college campus, etc., they say, oh, by the way, 2 billionaires give him $20 to $25 million a year and don't expect anything in return. So whereas we have to actually be sustainable, right? Mm-hmm. They just mention it like, oh, by the way. No, not by the way. They get $25 million a year for free and to do propaganda for those 2 billionaires.
And maybe ask why?
Yeah, but hey, money, they have money, bravo. Okay, so there I am again. But guys, like when people come up to me and hug me and they say wonderful things like we changed your life or we changed your mind, or sometimes folks tell me they got the courage to leave fundamentalist religion. They got the courage to come out and say they're gay, or thousands of stories. I can't thank you enough. It's been a wonderful 18 years. So which platforms are we on currently? This little engine that could. Let's show you. Obviously, our own website, tyt.com. We got our app, YouTube, Facebook, Roku, Pluto, Comcast Xfinity X1, Comcast Xfinity Flex, Xumo, and you name it. And it goes on and on. Okay, now Lifetime platforms. Just for fun. I'm not going to read all of them, but these are the platforms that we used to be on, right? Oh, look at Air America there, Current TV, Blip.
Air America is where I first listened, by the way.
Oh, is that right? That's awesome. Fusion, where John had a TV show. AOL, where we started off some reporters that still exist in the world today. They're reporters partly because we helped them, and I feel very, very proud about that. So also, if you notice, MSNBC is not on there because that wasn't TYT, that was just me.
And Go 90 is there, where True North was for like a day before it shut down. It's cool.
We still have that
spent a couple months in the North Pole. Nobody needs to see it though.
Well, back when it still existed.
Yeah, briefly. It was very brief.
The North Pole existed.
When the North Pole
existed.
existed.
That's true. Yeah. Yes. Science fiction, really.
And not only did you guys keep us in business through membership and do now, but when we asked you for a studio, the studio is built by you guys. We asked you for reporters, you did that. We asked you for a climate reporter recently, you did that. You're the best. So last thing, guys. So you see Jayar next to me. He's been here, what, 17 years?
April of 03.
One of the first young Turks ever, and he missed the living room, but he was there afterwards. In our first little tiny office studio. And I just want to run through some, and John, has it been a decade yet?
It's been more than 8 years. I came in January 2012.
Okay, obviously a huge part of the show.
You've been here twice as long, jeez.
By the way, John started, John, I know he's been here twice as long as you, and you've been here forever.
Crazy.
John started, is the only person to have started 2 out of our top 10 channels. So both Damage Report, which is on the air now, and Think Tank in the past. So wonderful work by John. All right, but I want to tell you about the folks that are not here, and some you see all the time. Some I'll just go in random order here, in the order you have the pictures, guys. But some folks you never see, right? So first, Commander of the Armies of the East, Aaron Wysocki. So Aaron's a legend. He runs the Boiler Room in Pittsburgh. He does publishing for us, but he's done social media, he's done everything else. There he is. He was a kid when we hired him, for God's sake.
Right here.
It's been about 11, 12 years, depending on how you're counting. He's part of the Decade Club, runs our office in Pittsburgh, is one of the greatest guys I've ever worked with.
Wysocki does this stuff, and I don't hate to interrupt.
Relishes it.
Wysocki does the things that many people may not want to do, the analyzing of certain things to make sure things go out a certain way. So it's less of a guesswork and more of a reading the way things are going and making sure we're along that same range. Because you have to continue to progress and continue to move with the times. Again, 05 is when we started with YouTube. If you look at YouTube in 2005, it is not the same YouTube that it is right now.
Yeah.
So as things change, you have to change with it. You can't just say, oh yeah, we came with YouTube, so let's just sit back and just keep putting out videos. No, it's not how it works.
Yeah, Aaron rode all those waves, survived all those waves, carried us through all those waves. Look, I get a little emotional talking about that because it's easy to celebrate the people you see all the time. That's, we're the ones that get the credit from time to time, right? But it's harder for the folks you don't see, right? And those are the bigger heroes, the folks you don't see that work throughout the night for year after year after year, putting in the hard work to make this place possible. Next is obviously Anna Kasparian, who has been here now a dozen years at least. That's a fun picture.
The most Anna picture.
It's a great picture.
Queen of Salt.
And Cassie, who took that picture.
Oh, nice. Thank you, Cassie. So Anna's in Germany right now, but she'll be back next week. You guys know her. And then from time to time, you'll see a picture of this guy on air. Bart, our audio guy, who's been a stage manager. These are all the folks that were in the Wilshire studio. So in the Decade Club, I believe. I didn't do all the math on it, but Bart's awesome and we love him for it.
It's also the last time Bart wore a collared shirt buttoned to the top.
Of course, my co-founders, the ones that were in the living room back on the very first day. Actually, we started at a Tony Roma's. That was our first meeting ever. Ben Mankiewicz, now host of Turner Classic Movies, obviously comes on the show still to this day. In fact, he was with us in the Iowa caucus, does old school with me. Guy you see from time to time on the Air Friday post game, Dave Kohler, the ever irascible and eccentric Dave Kohler. That's a good picture.
I really like that picture, actually. That's a great picture.
That's more Dave Kohler than I did that other one was Anna.
That's a great picture.
And obviously the smartest guy who works at TYT, Edwin, our stage manager. That's the laugh you hear every once in a while in the background. That's Edwin. So now you can put the face to the name.
If there's something you don't know about, pick a country.
Pick a fact.
Bring it up. Don't ask him. So Edwin, can you tell me about the history of Peru? Don't ask him. Just be like, so Peru, and Edwin will go.
Yeah. How do badgers work?
Trump could use that. All right, another TYT legend, at least a legend in our own minds, Jesus Godoy, first ever internet TV director. But by the way, we used to kid around about that. That actually is true. Yep. He's the first ever director of internet television show. Jesus Godoy, also with us 17 years, came just a little bit before Jayar. He was in the living room. He was an intern when we first started. I think our first intern, and poor guy's been with us the whole time.
Still an intern, but he's holding out hope. He's gonna get that salary.
Now he manages the stage crew, among other things, and still directs. And now she's not with us anymore. There's a lot of folks that were here, Tom Hanks, so many others that were great. But I gotta acknowledge Jill Pike because she helped start the show. She was one of our original co-hosts with me and Ben for a long, long time. She's wonderful, huge part of the show. Last couple of folks here, Epic's been here from day one. Michael Schur in the living room with us. Now, almost never full time, right? Always like doing this and doing another thing at the same time. Mark Thompson's been here a long time too, but Michael was here from day one. So thank you to Michael Schur, who's now with I-24 and Cheddar. Someone you also never see, but does wonderful work behind the scenes and has been here and carried the company is Praveen Singh. She does marketing, PR, and so many other things for us. So Praveen, you're the best. She's in San Francisco.
That's a great picture of Praveen.
Yeah. So thank you.
Who takes these amazing pictures?
Was that Cassie too? Probably.
I assume all of these are Cassie.
And then finally, one of the aggressive progressives, Steve-O, also I think in the Decade Club, certainly was in the Wilshire studio back in the day. I like how they were kind of reluctant to put Steve's picture up. He's our chief business officer as well, so multifaceted here. All right, guys, I can go on and on, but we mostly want to thank you for allowing us to exist for all these years. And we don't have billionaires, but we do have you guys. And then we're gonna show you a video here. So summarize a little bit.
One small thing before you go to, because I had thoughts really fast. I know, obviously, we always go a little long, but there's a thing about when we started, the objective wasn't always to just get rich. Of course, you want to make money, but the objective wasn't get rich, which is the reason why we stuck through it and then bounced off the ground those few times to make it up, because we were thinking, we have something we want to get to as far as the country. Not a matter of, oh my God, I can't wait for someone to give me $1 million so we can do this and be seen and known. Being seen and known comes with inspiring people. And as you talk about meeting thousands of people, what they tell you, and they tell me this, and I wasn't even directly doing it. What you guys did was made me feel like someone heard what I was always thinking when I'm in the middle of this state, city, whatever, and even my parents thought differently than me. And I'm like, I'm being raised and this just doesn't make sense to me. Am I the crazy one? And I can't tell you how many times on the air, early days, we said, am I the crazy one? I can't be the crazy one because this makes too much sense. And so when other people, we didn't know, we were talking into a camera and we couldn't see you. So we don't know who we're reaching until it's been doing it for long enough for we get a chance to see and meet the people we've seen. So when I meet people out on the streets and they say, oh man, I'm sorry to mean to bother you. Hey, I'm just saying I liked watching here. I've been watching since this day. And on this platform, I always ask people, where did you watch? Where did you first start watching? And then what kind of hooked you? Because I like to know what it is we did, because you don't know when it happened that it got certain people's attention. So people felt isolated and then they felt like they were part of something. And that's part of the giving part of it. 2020, we got people that are on Instagram, doing Patreon pushes and all this stuff, and their objective is strictly to be known. Instagram celebrities in general, I'm not gonna lump everybody, but I'm sure the major majority of them are like, oh man, I can make some money by just going on Instagram, maybe hooking people. Everyone's trying to do it. That wasn't the objective. The objective was for us to tell the truth in the middle of things, in the middle of an industry, I'm gonna call politics an industry, that has no interest in telling you the truth.
I'm so glad you brought that up, Jayar, because look, when Ben and I first started, I remember we had a conversation right in the beginning when we said, when we come back to being in the middle, which is where we actually are, because the polling indicates that about 2/3 of the country agrees with our positions, then we'll know that politics is back in balance. Back then, Ben was to the left of me, now I'm to the left of him. But I think Ben, mission accomplished. Like some people are saying he's not left enough, right? No. And by the way, I don't know if I'm outing him here, but he voted for Bernie Sanders last time, okay? But now a lot of people think Ben is not left enough, right? I was on a podcast just yesterday where somebody was saying that I'm not left enough. All right, we're getting back in balance. That's what we wanted. And so now millennials and Gen Z are 80% progressive, and if we help push the country in that direction, I just want to keep going, man. That's all I care about. Then I'm incredibly proud of that. And by the way, we're 18 days away. It's funny, it's our 18th birthday, and we're 18 days away from Super Tuesday, where a guy who is so progressive that when we started, no one on planet Earth could have imagined could be president. If you had said it in February 14th, 2002, that Bernie Sanders will one day be president of the United States, you would have been laughed out of every room. I mean, you would have been laughed out of every room until about a couple of weeks ago, right? But let alone that. Look, I'm proud that I was the first guy in 2013, first pundit to say, yeah, I think Bernie Sanders can be president. I think he has a good chance of winning. Not like he should, but I'm saying he could, and here we are.
I remember watching that video and being very frustrated. I was not happy with that particular prediction, how early it was. I just want to say briefly, and partially because I want to make sure that this segment takes a long time, because that is a tradition that goes back 18 years. But also, like, I'm glad that you went over the numbers and how many people have watched, and it's so amazing. But also, one thing that I don't think people will get is, so we've reached a lot of people, but we've sort of reached a lot of people that we haven't even directly reached. Because I don't think most people know how many shows would not exist, or would not exist in the form that they're in if it hadn't been for the Young Turks. Like, there had been radio for a long time, but when you guys started on YouTube and started to figure out over time how that could work, what that should look like, how do you structure that, how do you present yourself to the audience? I mean, there are a lot of people who now have shows that either consciously or perhaps not so consciously were doing the Young Turks, basically. They might disagree, and now they have totally different things and everything. It's awesome, that's what we want. And by the way, some of those people are right-wingers. Like, there are people who do our thing, but they're insane right-wingers, but they're trying to be the Young Turks. And I think that that's amazing too. It's another reason why it's crazy that the New York Times has never like, isn't that sort of important that like this whole ecosystem has sort of sprung out of this initial experiment that nobody thought could work?
And that was kind of the point I was making, as far as like, now people don't realize, hey, becoming an internet celebrity is a thing and a normalized thing, but literally it was not a thing before, it just wasn't. And we were just like, hey, literally, hey, you know Jesus? Jesus said, hey, let's put a camera while we do this radio show, and let's just talk, and there's a camera looking at us.
That was a good call.
And we were YouTube's first partner too. So, I mean, it's also amazing that nobody's given us credit for being the longest running show in internet history. So that's a hell of a thing. It doesn't matter, guys, it doesn't matter. Look, the bottom line is, let's keep going. Let's keep going, otherwise you're no longer the longest running show. All right, so having said that, just one last thing, show you guys a video of some of the fun moments that we've had over these last 18 years.
Welcome to the Young Turks. For so long, all you've seen on television is conservative hosts, conservative commentators, and conservative talk shows.
But now we say the time has come for regime change
in American television.
This is a noted American talk show host, Cenk, and I doubt anybody knows who he is.
Show the goddamn paper right here. Picture, headline, USA, safer, Bush says.
Happy birthday. How old are you?
32 years old. You are an old man.
I was telling this kid this morning, I was 22 when I started TYT.
We're supposed to celebrate Iadarola's birthday. I don't know how I got reeled into this. I volunteered, though.
Hey, everybody, don't break down.
Until it's funny,
This is what everyone wanted to watch. Cenk versus Jayar.
We were told that everything would go well. We would have roses thrown at our feet. We would be seen as liberators. We wouldn't need that many troops. And all of these predictions turned out to be incredibly wrong.
They have no shame whatsoever. The whole premise of the show is that we are believers. We actually believe that we can make a difference. Yes, we dare to believe that we can make a difference in our government.
I was going to introduce myself, but it sounds like you guys might know us.
We do news a little different than the establishment media. We do it honestly.
Thank you, Uygur of the Young Turks.
This convention is gonna be nuts. Jesus Christ, boos and then applause.
Today, for the first time, it really hit me that there's an excellent chance that Trump is going to be our next president.
It's sad for America that we stoop this low. And I'm gonna fight with every fiber of my body to make sure we never make that mistake again.
Now more than ever, I want to fight for Wolfpack.
We cover and return to more than I think anyone else the topic of climate change. We're not just talking about it. TYT sent an awesome, extremely talented crew and myself to the Arctic last year. Yesterday, North Dakota looked more like a war zone than the site of a protest over the construction of a pipeline.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, everybody! Yay! Great to have you here on
It's
set.
awesome to be here. You know, this is where it started in a lot of ways.
Hello.
Hi.
When the Justice Democrats started, I remember I was there.
Will you join the Justice Democrats?
Yes, with enthusiasm.
Justice is coming.
You've got 3, but we only know the results of 2.
It's been almost 12 hours and we're totally running out of time. We're having fun, it's election night. I'm calling it. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the winner.
Congratulations, thank you.
No small part thanks to, honestly, journalists and outlets like yourself that are willing to cover this story from the very beginning.
For all of you who volunteered, all of you who donated, you're David. You just beat Goliath tonight. We were told that we would be lucky to have one Justice Democrat in Congress.
We have 7 Justice Democrats, a caucus of justice in the House of Representatives.
About a year ago, if I had told you that AOC was going to defeat one of the most powerful Democrats in the country, and then right-wingers would sue her if she blocked them on Twitter, oh my God, how much have we changed the world in about a year?
So this is what democracy looks like.
One more time. I love you guys.
When I was here is when I started with these guys. I thought me and Cenk were about to change the world and make $1 million. We're still on the change the world part.
Thank you all for independent TYT. Thank you, all your sisters and brothers in the independent media family. Thank you so much for giving the people of this country a different view.
All right, still at the same place. Love you guys. Thank you for making this possible. You reached a lot of people. You are the Young Turks. And we have spread that progressive message wide and far. Let's keep it going. Thank you. TYT.com/join to keep it going. Thanks for watching the Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, Jayar. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.